Wow, today is Friday, finally. Wiki imeisha, and we all know what happened yesterday, and I feel like not talking about it, what happened yesterday will be an injustice. So let's be honest. Yesterday's June 25th demonstrations completely broke the irony meter. What was originally advertised as a solemn day of remembrance to mark the second anniversary of commemoration of we were remembering the people we lost in 2024 during the great tunaitaje maandamano, the many lives that were lost. So the youth gathered up, wapatane tuongee, we figure out, I'm trying to find the perfect term for this, to remember the people we lost back then. And I genuinely believe that the best way to do this was to protest. Let me just make this clear. We were meeting as a way of remembrance to mark the second anniversary of the finance bill. Tulipatana kugombana ama kulia juu ya mambo ya finance bill, and we lost a lot of lives. That is the truth of the matter. And it was meant to be a day of commemoration and all that, but it didn't really turn out that way. Yes? And from all the footages that we watched jana na kila kitu tuliona, it wasn't as chaotic as before. Of course, the streets were empty and everything. Magari zilisimamishwa na kila kitu. And I genuinely believe that as much as there was chaos, there was silence in most places, I think that the best thing was what we needed to achieve was achieved. So yes, it was that solemn day of remembrance to mark the second anniversary of the historic 2024-2025 Gen Z anti-finance bill protest, which again quickly mutated into a massive game of the floor is lava, except that the floor was the entire Nairobi CBD. Now, just hours prior, the government was practically radiating confidence. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen had assured the nation that the day would proceed without a hitch, cheerfully stating that tomorrow is a normal working day, a working and school day. Our children are free to go to school and people are free to go about their businesses. President William Ruto doubled down on the optimism, heavily emphasizing that the country's economy would remain completely unhindered, firmly asserting that nothing will stop moving on June 25th. Well, spoiler alert, everything stopped moving. The sweeping closures meant that the very workers, business owners, and school children the state promised will go about their day found themselves locked out of the city center entirely. It was a beautiful, glaring contradiction between administration's public rhetoric of normal operations and the militarized blockades that brought the heart of the capital to a complete standstill. But I want us to focus on a much more sobering and deeply troubling aspect of the street crackdowns. While the frantic running battles across our urban centers have often been viewed through a lens of chaotic street theater, well, from this footage, police officers are seen allegedly harassing a vulnerable citizen. Now, the man who was being assisted to walk along the road is pushed to the ground, picked back up, and then thrown in the back of a police vehicle. This is not a criminal. This is not a person who is visibly committing a crime. Tuchekini sheria. According to the Persons with Disabilities Act 2025, Section 17, Protection from Abuse, Exploitation, and Violence, the law says that every person with disability has the right to be protected against all forms of abuse, neglect, exploitation, and physical, mental, sexual, or emotional violence on their person in all settings at all places, including home, care houses, educational institutions, hospitals, workplaces, and any other place which resides, cohabits, employs, or in any other manner inhabits any person with a disability, whether temporarily or permanently. And honestly, I even think this is just a moral fact that we should protect persons with disabilities regardless. Now, I have seen on social media people are saying that the person who was helping him alitoka mbio akamwacha. Well, this is a problem, but not in the way you think. According to the National Police Service Act, Section 24, one of the functions of the Kenya Police Service is, and I quote, provision of assistance to the public when in need. So maybe the person saw that the police had arrived and he was like, mimi najua the police are going to help umse. Wacha mimi nikimbie hivi juu naona ni kama nilisahau kuzima gas kwa nyumba. And Rennie did. Fast. Now, it is my hope that the person will be taken good care of, genuinely, because that was not, it wasn't a friendly sight. It's a good thing to see, honestly. The man on the ground, haezi simama, unamwambia simame, you pick him up, put him in the car. It did not feel right to me, both morally or just even kusi. And yeah, and I think sometimes jamaa inabidi tu aone. I just read the situation as it is. Anyway, well, still on the Mandamano topic, nataka we talk about the absolutely logistical madness that went down on the outskirts of the capital during the June 25th memorial demonstrations. Now, if you thought you'd seen everything in Kenyan policing, Githurai 45 ilisema, hold my tear gas, and debuted a completely new tactical playbook. It is reported that the plainclothes police officers walikuwa spotted tearing through the streets on motorcycles, simultaneously firing into the air and trying to disperse protesting youth. Now, this brings up some deeply confusing questions about standard operating procedures. First of all, nani aliauthorize the undercover biker division? When you picture a police operation, you expect standard patrol cars and official uniforms, not a scene that looks like a low-budget audition for the Fast and Furious franchise. If you are a regular mwananchi just trying to survive the afternoon, how on earth are you supposed to differentiate between a highly coordinated law enforcement operation and a rogue motorcycle club? What exactly is the protocol there? Well, the government firmly maintains with a straight face that these heavy unconventional deployments are strictly intended to protect infrastructure and support lawful activities. The ground reality felt a bit more like a high-speed game of cat and mouse. If this high-octane method is the future of regional and crowd control, the Mwananchi is going to need to start investing in tactical running shoes. This is funny to be junajua. We know the reputation ya watu wa boda vile inakuanga kunja. We've actually talked a lot about stories of boda hapa ndani. Back in the day, we talked about them being used vibaya kwa barabara, and then also we've had situations where they're burning vehicles after accidents. And then now we have this report where they're claiming that our makarao, they are in plain uniform firing in the air, attacking in bikes. So, I wonder when we'll finally have a good story to talk about the boda itself. Let's not talk about the people. Now, tukitoka Kenya kiasi tuhame, let's move to Hong Kong, where cinema legend Tony Leung Chiu has a message for the tech enthusiasts trying to automate their silver screen art. Requires a pulse. Let me say that again. Alikuwa anasema to make art you require to have a pulse. Now, speaking at the Shanghai International Film Festival, where he is serving as jury president, the 63-year-old icon got candid about the rise of artificial intelligence, calling it a double-edged sword that might cut budgets but will ultimately slash creative jobs. Leung predicts that AI's biggest playground will be mindless corporate blockbusters, or as he calls them, popcorn movies, driven by cold calculation rather than genuine creativity. When he was pressed on whether an AI-generated film could ever truly be considered art, the In the Mood for Love star took a long, plaintive pause before shutting down the idea entirely. But there is no soul. That's what he said. I don't think so. I don't think it is art. No, those were his words. And would you blame him? Have you actually run into those AI? In fact, before I
think AI is a double-edged sword. At the same time, it saves us a lot of time on pre-production and post-production. And it saves a lot of time, means save a lot of money. And this will go to mainstream movie, the popcorn one. It's much more easier and save more money. But at the same time, a lot of people will lost their job. So I think mainstream.
So yeah, as I was saying, I wouldn't blame him, because if you've seen most of the AI footage we have, it looks very realistic, feels realistic, but it looks realistic, but it doesn't feel authentic. I think you can always tell when a video is AI, because there's a lack of emotion in them. Even if it's a film, the way they speak, it feels like they're speaking words. As an actor, I think there is a way when you say that, when you're saying there's the difference between saying your lines and actually being in the moment. You can tell the difference between a good actor and a bad actor just from the way they deliver their lines. So I don't know, it's the same with AI footage. When there is no feeling or emotion, you can somehow tell it might look real, but it doesn't feel right. Now, nataka tusonge where we talk about biting off exactly what you can chew. That's a very interesting story, where onlookers at a bustling river dock were left completely stunned when an artisanal loader pulled off a feat of strength that defies belief. While easily balancing one massive sack of rice on his shoulder, the worker simultaneously hoisted a second sack full of 60 kg, it was 60 kg by the way, off the ground, using absolutely nothing but the grip of his teeth and jaws. Now, as the loader steadily marched down the gangplank to deposit the heavy cargo onto a waiting transport boat, witnesses erupted in cheers, completely amazed by the display of superhuman jaw power. In a grueling industry where physical limits are pushed daily, this incredible demonstration of dental lock and core stability took dock work to a whole new level. That is something else. I definitely cannot do that. I cannot. There's a friend of mine, unamjua vizuri, you'll see him in a few. His name is Peter Kamau. He said that is easy work, so I see a challenge coming in the future. Whether or not he does it will be quite the sight to see. And you know, it's not the first time I've seen this. Online on TikTok, there's a guy, very big guy, I think he's Ghanaian or something. He does the same thing and it's crazy. Sijui watu wanapata hiyo nguvu wapi. I would not dare try that, no. Now we move. Teachers Service Commissioner CEO Evelyn Mitei has warned against political interference in teachers' transfers, declaring deployment the exclusive mandate of the commission. Now, as he spoke at the 49th Kesha conference in Mombasa, Mitei urged principals with excess staff to release them to understaffed schools and announced that the second phase of the teachers' collective bargaining agreement will kick off next month. She also instructed school heads to accurately document their duties ahead of an upcoming SRC job evaluation. Supporting these stabilization efforts, KUPPET Secretary General Akelo Misori backed a review of secondary school fees, arguing that running institutions on an absolute 2015 fee structure is unsustainable under current economic realities, while demanding prompt capitation disbursements and fast-track career progression guidelines to ease mounting financial pressures. Yeah. And I think the financial aspect of this is real. I saying that running with the 2015 budget right now is tricky, but you'd never know. But this is my personal belief. It's my personal belief that now, as in 2026, as in 2016, I mean 2026 right now, of course, budget imepanda, like things are more expensive. The value of money back then is not the same as it is now. Anyway, now, universities must prioritize problem-driven research, commercial innovations, and fully embrace artificial intelligence to deliver practical societal solutions. Speaking at the 5th Mary University of Science and Technology International Conference, Forestry, it's MUSTIC, that's the abbreviation for it. Forestry Principal Secretary Gitonga Mugambi emphasized that higher learning institutions must partner with industry and communities to ensure academic research directly drives economic growth and tackles climate change. Echoing this, most Vice Chancellor Professor Romanus Odhiambo stated that innovation remains the ultimate key to solving global challenges, while SCAC CEO Simon Nindimuli urged institutions to adopt AI as a core learning tool and strengthen community-focused breakthroughs. The 3-day conference brings together global researchers, policymakers, and industry leaders to hammer out sustainable interdisciplinary solutions for a resilient future.
Why are we doing this research? Let's be guided by a problem that we want to solve for people. And as we do this, as we do the research also, let's carry out innovation, let's incubate, and let us commercialize. But it's not the university that is going to commercialize. We need to build partnerships. We need to look at the whole value chain. How are we going to have it replicated so that it can give value to our people? Let's take the issue of patenting very seriously, because also what is happening, a lot of discoveries done here, they are patented in other countries. And it's something that we must engage. We must seriously engage that.
Well, this conversation of AI is quite interesting. I think it's a debate that will keep happening, because on one end we've talked about how it makes film feel soulless, and then in the other end we talk about how it can greatly help with school learning and all that. Anyway, that is all for me today, and next is of course Peter Kamau, and we'll have to talk with him after this. I want to see him. Nataka kumwona akibeba hiyo gunia. He needs to show me that he can actually do this. Take care, have a lovely day, and stick around. Now report iko tena jioni. Take care, guys.